Jesus freak here. And I've been thinking, as someone who's, kind of min-maxed, as a gamer might say, that I have a situation where my mind might be sharp as a whip, but the rest of me is barely functioning, including other parts of my brain. It's like, yeah, I can live, more or less.
Wait.
But what am I honestly going to do? When I was growing up, there came a point where I learned that my entire life was a lie. Part of my family wanted to remove me from the foster home I was in, where they had wanted to adopt me and were raising me as if I were their actual kid since I was about 1. So I was in a situation where I was simultaneously wanted and unwanted by my family. I'm not talking my immediate family. I'm talking about my grandmother, because she was the one who was large and in charge in the family. She wanted me for the status. She didn't want me for the living, breathing human being. And don't think that an 8-year-old, 7-year-old even, can't understand that. They might not be able to express that. They absolutely understand it. And compound that with mental issues. People who are stuck in the past as how to raise a kid. People who think culture shock is just me being a jerk. People who know there's something wrong with my head, but don't want to accept that. The whole mental illness is all in your head shtick. And people who themselves have trouble taking care of their own situation. Thought maybe they could get it to the point where, they didn't have to deal with it anymore. They could just stick it on me when I was grown up enough. And they were surprised that I wound up trying to end myself. I spent several years trying to do it. And in the middle of that, social services finally stepped in and took me out of there. But then at some point they said, you're going to have to make a decision. You're either going to have to go nuclear on your family or go back. And I didn't want to go back because who'd want to go back to people who'd been abusing them for years? So I went nuclear on my family. I was estranged from them for almost 25 years. And I told them this when I finally reconciled. This was what happened on my end. This, I don't know what you heard, and you don't know what I heard, but, let's just jive our stories, right? And that's what we did. Those who had been mistreating me during my childhood were both long gone. And this was basically the last shot for some of the others, because shortly after that, my other uncle and one of my cousins also passed away. Now, when you physically injure someone, when you hurt them enough, you leave scars. The same thing happens when you mentally and emotionally abuse someone. People are going to be like, "Oh, you just need more Jesus." I'm like, what more can someone like me do than I really have been doing my whole life? Most of this happened, 30 plus years ago. I'm a week from turning 43. I know I don't look it. Anyone who knows me probably couldn't think I look it, acted at anything. They probably think maybe I'm in at the latest late 20s. I've done pretty well for myself, considering. Doesn't mean I'm in a good state or in a good headspace or anything. Honestly, I wish I didn't have to live through this life. That I could have had a more normal existence. That, I think, is the real cross I've had to bear. Especially having that idea of what could have been. Jesus freak out.